Hello, welcome to another episode of WGLC. I know I'm inside my house here in Orlando, Florida. I'm actually cold. I woke up, it was in the 40s outside, and it makes it pretty cold inside the house. We don't like to use our heat. It's kind of like this psychological thing. Like, no, we live in Orlando, Florida. We're not using the heat, right? But today's episode of WGLC, I've got to I've got to really step outside of the norm. And I think that you, as the audience, you're going to like that I'm stepping outside of the norm. This episode is going to be a little bit different, and it's somewhat personal for me. I think this is the first time I'm doing an episode, well, kind of the first time I'm doing an episode where I knew the musician on somewhat of a personal level. Um, I hired a cellist recently, and she's great. And trying to find myself vocally, which is usually in a lower register, and working with a cellist who plays in a lower register, I'm learning more about equalizing than I have ever learned before, and it's all by experience. And because if you take a raw recording of a cello and just throw it into a song where you're singing in a lower register, you're going to get a lot of stuff that seems muddied. So panning, putting everything in the proper place, proper equalizing is the secret. But I want to jump right into today's episode. But the last song I worked on with my cellist, and I will put the link to that song down below because I think that I think y'all will like the song. I just released it. It's a song called "Leave as You Are," and I just released it, I think, yesterday. But I'll put the link for that song down below. My cellist plays on it. This is her right here. Her name is Paulina Faustova. And when I sent her the files for the song, she's like, "Oh, I like the song. I think I have some good ideas for this song." And she composed the whole cello track for the song. Again, listen to it down below. I'll put the link. But this episode is about this orchestra. So she said to me, "I have some great ideas for this song, Artie. But if it's okay, I have to travel for a few days with my orchestra. So when I do that, I'll be thinking of some ideas for your song." I'm like, "That's perfect." And she's like, "Well, can I do the song in a few days so I can travel with the orchestra and then come back and get ready to record?" Perfect. But then I asked, because whenever I'm working with a musician, I always want to see what they do on their own. That's actually how I like to discover musicians to work with, is to see what they're doing and then ask them to work with me. But in many cases, I work with the musician first, and then I find out they have side projects, and I ask them, "Hey, you have a link for your stuff?" So of course I ask Paulina. I say, "Hey, do you have a link that I can watch this performance?" And so she gave me a link to her orchestra, and it's called the Prime Orchestra. I believe they're out of the Ukraine. She's from the Ukraine, so I'm assuming this is a Ukrainian orchestra. And she sends me this link. Guess what I was expecting? Ready? Orchestra music. It's an orchestra. Prime Orchestra, right? You would think that they would play music that is tailored and composed for an orchestra. But this is what Prime Orchestra does. They take electronica, heavy metal, whatever they want, and it could be popular music or non-popular music. And I love how they choose, like, for instance, this video that we're about to watch right here is a video from the Prodigy. And I don't know if anyone remembers the Prodigy from the 90s, but they had some success in the 90s doing like this crazy different electronica punk style of music. And it wasn't super popular back in the 90s, but they had success. They had a following. And I'm a 90s guy. And in the 90s, I didn't really get into Prodigy. I just didn't. I was listening to Pink Floyd. I was listening to Metallica, Megadeth, The Doors, Led Zeppelin, all these other bands. I was not listening to the Prodigy. And I didn't have an appreciation for electronica back then. So here you have this orchestra here They take electronica music that has, and electronica music does have some, you will find melodies in electronica music, but a lot of times the melodies will repeat. They'll find a melody, it sounds nice, and then like throughout the song, the melody repeats. Anyways, she sends me this link here. Here's my orchestra. This is what I'll be doing. And as I'm watching it, I thought to myself, this is brilliant. This is absolutely genius. I love when you have something that is not the norm, that is not popular, right? It's not a normal everyday thing to take an orchestra, but to cover music that is not orchestra music. And to make an orchestral arrangement out of it and to make it fun. And that is exactly what these guys do. And I watched this video like 9 times. It's not a long video, and we're not going to watch the whole video. It's a 7-minute and 13-second medley of all songs by the Prodigy. We're just going to watch the last 2 on this medley, all right? Just to watch how fun music can be. And music does not need to be mainstream. Music does not need to be the norm, and it doesn't need to fit inside of some type of package. Music can break the mold. It can break the boundaries. It can break the rules. Yes, there's structure in music, but that's only so that the music can be performed. But when the music is being arranged, the sky's the limit. Literally, the sky is the limit. Well, not literally, because people aren't playing music in the sky, but you know what I mean. But without further ado, let's listen to these songs. It's going to be the song No Good and the song Voodoo People. It's just a snippet of each song, because this is a 7-minute medley of, I think, 5 songs from the Prodigy. But we're only going to listen to No Good and Voodoo People. Listen to how cool this sounds, okay? I love it. put this melody in there, oh God, it's brilliant. This is brilliant. Wow. Wow. Oops, I accidentally clicked on something else. No? Oh, it's Prime Orchestra doing what? Tina Turner? We don't need another hero? I accidentally, well, let's just give this a shot. I don't know what is this? I've never seen this before. I have no idea what I'm watching. This was an accident. Oh, they have a vocalist.
From the wreckage can make the same mistake this time. We are the children.
Great engineering.
The less generation. We are the ones that left behind.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, so that was an accident. I didn't mean to click on that. And you can see they choose songs that are not typically orchestral arrangements, and they make them orchestral and operatic arrangements, but yet they keep some of the elements in the music that are there when they were pop or rock or electronica. Like, for instance, We Don't Need Another Hero. They used a regular, an electric guitar, and you can hear that that someone's playing a bass guitar, and there's a full rock drum set. And going back to the original two songs, the medley from the Prodigy, look at what they did. They took certain aspects of each song, whether it was a certain keyboard melody, whether it was a melody from the flute, whether it was a melody from whatever, and then they highlighted it and brought it out using the orchestral arrangement that they have. And then what I think is amazing here also is the drummer, because these Prodigy songs, there's probably a chance, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing with electronica music, usually the drums are very processed. So you can be hitting all over the place because you're programming it. You're going in and you're putting in 16th and 32nd notes all over the place, They had a drummer up there. So the drummer was busy. Yeah, that's a lot of action, to get that type of driving, fast-paced percussion live, So I love what they did. I love how they just inserted different things. They added certain things. They took liberties, but not too many liberties. You can still tell it was the music from the Prodigy. So anyways, that is this episode of WGLC. I'm going to put a link down below for the Prime Orchestra. If you like that type of adventurous, brave, creative rendition of popular music put into a non-conventional format, then I think that you would like this. So I'm going to put the link down below for these guys. Please comment below. And if you have found anything, and this, I want to hear from you. And lately, I've been getting a lot of comments lately on my videos, and I love that. All the comments have been very nice, and I would love to hear from you. Do you know an orchestra or maybe a different type of band that incorporates a certain type of music but kind of changes the genre a little bit, but brings it out in their genre, but in a very creative and entertaining way, like this is here? If you know of anything like that, go ahead and comment down below. I'll be dying to hear it, and I'm sure other listeners too would want to hear it. But anyways, again, this is Artie Astor from WGLC. Until next time, you keep it groovy.